Hello everyone, so I have been challenged to do this video to present myself and to really explain what I do in my business and give a little bit of knowledge away. So here we go.
What I do is that I am an e-commerce business consultant and I also have my own e-commerce. So what I do is that I teach people who want to be opening their e-commerces or already have one and want to really grow and scale it, right? So really what I do really is that I review with my clients their brand experience, right? So a lot of people are not really familiar with the brand experience, and I'm just going to break it down to you today and explain to you what it is and why it's just so important. Basically, the term of brand experience is also very well known as experience marketing. And it's used by a lot of multinationals and precisely used by the companies that I worked for so far. So most of them are tech companies. So I know I mentioned before that was Microsoft, eBay, Apple, Xerox, and all those tech companies, right? That is something that I actually was more exposed to, but my background is marketing and business, and that's what I studied at school. So basically, brand experience or experience marketing is about what the people are like, what your customer will experience when they're in touch with your brand. Okay, so what I teach is that I teach my clients, small businesses or new businesses, on how to apply those marketing strategies that really work and that are proven by so many big companies, and how to apply those at a smaller scale, no matter what is their budget, because there is always something you can do basically to create a unique brand experience. So people will forget what you say, people will forget what you do, they will never forget how you make them feel. That's very well known, and we all know this. And basically, for the ones who didn't study marketing, what I do with my clients is that I go into the basics of marketing and explain them how it was all created. And marketing was originally created based on psychology. So there is a lot of psychological stuff that are included into marketing, and marketers really went deep inside the mind of the people and why they buy. And I have a book that I need to show you right now. And this is the type of book that I just love, is this one. It's called Biology and the Truth and Lies Behind Why People Buy. And as you can see, and if you read this type of books, you will really understand that marketing is definitely based on human psychology, right? So experience marketing is part of what makes you and stand out, what makes your business and your services and your products stand out in the eyes of the customer, right? So I'm going to take really big examples so you can really understand. So Disneyland. So Disneyland is known as the happy place, right? So this is what they decided to be known as, but it doesn't just stop there, right? So they went in the mind of their customers, which are children and still adult who wants to feel connected to their childhood. And they wanted to be known as the happy place, because who doesn't want to be happy, right? We all want to be happy. We all want to be somewhere where it's just going to trigger our happiness, right? So based on this, they made sure that their experience that they're providing, whether it starts from their products, their movies, right? At the end, everyone is always uplifted and feels stronger and all, right? So they tell you a story that is also really cool, because they use stories to market their product, and it's all about stories, and we know that stories are really used in marketing, right? But it's also about how you're treated and how they make you feel when you're there, right? So when you go to Disneyland, for example, they make everything around you beautiful and happy, right? Everyone who's working there is welcoming you with a really big smile, and you feel really welcomed and taken care of and things like that. And everything around you puts you inside the world of each movies or each cartoons or each product that they actually sold. If you haven't been to, like, I love taking these examples because they really are about experience, right? The real experience that you can really like genuinely dive into physically and mentally, right? I don't know if you've been to Universal Studio, but Universal Studio is the bomb, especially the one in Florida. Basically, they have this part where it's Harry Potter land, and you actually get inside the world of Harry Potter. So this is a real life experience, right? And that is also something that is translated and taken and put into other type of businesses. So Apple, I'm going to take that as another example because I always take them as an example. It's easy for me because I worked for them, so I can give you the inside and outside of Apple. Is that basically, even Microsoft does this. But anyway, they want to keep people excited with their product all the time. So from the moment they present it, right, they call the medias to come into a really large room where they're going to be presenting this. And basically before the event, they build up the excitement about what's going to happen. And this is where you hear about all the, how do you call that? All the rumors and all. But this stuff are like premeditated, okay? All that is planned, you know? You see all the people coming up with, how it's called? Yeah, again, premeditation about what's going to come up and everything, right? So this is just to make sure that people are starting to talk about Apple at that precise time, and the energy and the excitement brings up before they actually come and do their event. So their event is also available online. It's not just like, you know, old private fashion shows where people were not invited to. Everyone is invited, and you can watch it online on their website, right? So then they come up, and the way they present their keynote and the way that each speaker comes in and present one specific feature of the product and everything. And when they actually come up with the imaging and tell you this is the new iPhone, for example, and then you see it, and the videos, the way that they are crafted, like really beautifully crafted, the music around it, and everything is there to really makes you feel excited about the product and just really makes you want having the product, right? So they use slow motions, and slow motion is like a really cool thing to use, especially when you're selling or you have an item and people are not really, they aren't able to see it for real right now, or they want to buy online, for example, right? So by using slow motion, you get to actually show the features and the detail of the product really well, to a point where people feel that they are almost touching it. So that is one of the tricks that is used by Apple and so many other companies out there to make people want to buy, even if they are not seeing or touching the product for real, right? So from that moment, then they really build the excitement, and that's at the very end that they present, for example, the price. Then when they actually come up and are ready to sell their devices, people are like waiting outside, you know, those famous videos of people like camping in front of the freaking store to get a device, right? And basically when you get inside, everyone, the staff, the Genius staff, they're all ready and pumped, and they're clapping and everything. Basically they make you feel like, whoa, right? So after that, when you get inside the store, the Genius, the salesman, right, gives you and puts the device in your hand. That is one of the main thing about selling an item, especially when you're selling face-to-face, is to put the item in your hand, because from the moment you have it in your hand, you start feeling that like it belongs to you and you actually feel connected to it, right? So that's also a mental trick that they are using. So this is psychology, right? So from the moment you have it in your hand, then they tell you exactly what you want to know about, like the features, or they show you, they walk you through it, but they don't do it for you. they let you do it yourself, right? So that is also really important, because this is at that time that the magic is happening. Hi, I know someone jumped in. I don't know who it is. Just leave me a comment so I will know who it is. Anyways, it's at that moment where you actually start feeling like you really want to buy the item, right? So then when it's coming the time to pay the item, the genius has like the pay machine on their back pocket, and they do this really swiftly. So basically you're like mesmerized by the product and you feel so pumped and everything, right? You don't even think that you just gave a lot of money to pay for that product. So that is one of the tricks that they're using. And basically when you go outside of the store, you're like, woo, I have my iPhone or whatever, right? And you still feel pumped. So this is what we call experience marketing, and this is what I teach to businesses, and how to apply this stuff into their small e-commerce businesses, right?
Anyway, all these brands basically make a really good job at bringing you to a state of being mesmerized with what you're experiencing and really enjoying it, and not caring about how much you spend at that moment. Because have you noticed how really expensive everything is, especially when you're like in Disneyland or Universal Studio? Everything is just so expensive. And if you were not in this environment where, first of all, because you also don't have the choice, right? You are in a place where, for example, you're hungry or you want to drink something, everything is expensive. But then you are in the world of your happy place or your high energy place, right? Because this is where they bring you to. You're mesmerized. You are at that mesmerized state, right? And at that moment you want to also buy the merchandise, you want everything, right? Even if you know that you'll cry later, but you still give your credit card away and you're like, I'll think about that later, right? I will cry with my bills later, but right now I want to really enjoy, and then you pay. So they really make an amazing job at bringing you up to that level of energy where you just want more. And this is basically experience marketing at its best level, right? And it works. You can make up your own mind about what it is, judging if you like, but here's the thing, it works. And whether we like to admit it or not, we all enjoy this type of experiences and we want more, right? So that's what's worked for these companies, and it's applied across so many other companies.
So there's also one thing that I wanted to share. Hi, Jessica. There is one thing that I wanted to share, and I don't know if I can share my screen or any ways. No, it doesn't matter. Anyways, I will go back to my keynote. And one of the main things on why brand experience is so important is because studies has been made online, right? And people are saying 78% of people agree. And among these 78, 44 people strongly agree that they would pay more for a better brand experience. So this is one of the main reasons why, as a business, no matter what you're selling, and especially for my client, they're selling physical items, and that's what I teach them on how to elevate their marketing and experience marketing and experience strategy, brand experience strategy, right, is because people are willing to pay more for a better experience. So that's more money for you. Second is 87% of people says that previous unique experience is important, and 62 say it's very important. 62% of people say it's very important when choosing a brand to use in the future. So what I work on with my clients on the top of creating their reviewing their branding, right, and their brand narrative, what they want to do, and then their brand experience, right, I also teach them how to make their people come back for more, because also the brand experience or experience marketing is what makes people come in and come back, right? So it's all about customer retention. And these figures speaks for themselves. I mean, 87% of people say that if they had a unique experience, just being unique, outstanding or whatever, but just being unique, proper to your business, right, means that they would actually come back for more, right? So Jessica is saying, I hopped a little late. Can you give an example of how to make a unique brand experience, right? I explained it with the case of Apple. I know Microsoft is doing exactly the same thing. I actually really broke it down. So I invite you to watch the replay and take it from there. So there are many ways that you can actually make your brand experience really unique to yourself. And what I work on with my client is to understand what is your brand. So you can call this just as experience marketing, but for me, I like to make sure that everything is even. So that's why I'm taking the whole branding thing, right? I understand what's your business about and what you want to, what you stand for, because what you stand for will be impacting the rest of the experience. And also, who is your customer? Because customers are like, who is your avatar or your customer persona, right? Is it depends on them, because basically what I also teach, and again is Steve Jobs and Apple, right? Is that Steve Jobs said you have to start with your customer in mind and then create the technology behind it. And once you have it, then you can create actually the brand experience, right? So it's based on who you're serving and who you are and how you can create that world, you know, that specific connection in between, you know, that the people will be attracted to you. And the brand experience really is your ability to bring the people into the world of your brand. Because if they like what you're doing, they will want more of this and they will want to experience it, right? So it's your own ability to bring them into your world. And there are thousands of ways that you can do that. It just depends on whatever you're selling and who you are and who you are serving, basically. So that is me in a nutshell. I tried to make it like in a way that was really easy to understand. And yeah, so as I said, it's just perfect because I was shooting my content, and I'm actually really shooting this type of content like education and e-commerce 101 and what is brand experience. So thank you, Jessica, for this challenge. It's just perfect for me. And if you have questions about marketing, experience marketing or e-commerce, let me know. Thank you. Have a good day.